Hey, so you guys need to understand how insane I am. Okay, so Bionicle, right? It's a pretty good story, right? It's a pretty good Lego theme. It's got like this massive story that went on for multiple years, and you also know Lego games, right? TT style Lego games, Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, those types of games. Um, I know TT made their Bionicle Heroes game. That's not what this is. This is a theoretical massive TT style Lego game in like the Star Wars way of TT Lego games, the Star Wars Indiana Jones like standard way, but with the Bionicle storyline. Um, and I sort of went crazy here. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 levels a chapter, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, 19, 20. I think I lost count at this point. There, there's a lot. There's a lot of chapters here. Okay, I made this like 2 years ago, so some of these notes I don't remember. And I got a lot of this information from like the comics, the games, and the movies. So like I'll sort of explain to you the ones I recognize, but if I don't recognize something, I'll cover it very briefly and just sort of explain what I'm talking about there. I'll show you the character list. So this is the character list. All right. Um, and as you can see, it is in many different segments because not all of the characters can fit on one segment. So I have them in multiple different segments here. I have a segment for Matoran and Toa and Taraga and stuff. I have a segment for Agori and Gletorian. A segment for Allies, a pretty short segment. I have a segment for Dark Hunters, a segment for Enemies, a segment for Makuta, which also includes Rakshi, a segment for Okoto, um, a segment for Fusions. I didn't fill this one out. This is like the Kaeda and the Matora Nui and stuff, but like I don't have a full list of them even put here yet. And then this, I might not make this. This one might not be in whatever this would end up being, but this is like cameos. This is like cameos from Bionicle YouTubers or whatever who would be okay being put in a game like this. I mean, like, I didn't ask any of these people. They're just people I know, and they're cool and they're chill. But like, it's this is cameos. I have a segment for Small Rahi. I have a segment for Big Rahi, and I have a segment for Titan Rahi. And I'll have to explain what Titan Rahi are later. It has to do with Titan battles, which I'll have to explain eventually. Um, okay, so let's talk about this. Chapter 1, Tale of the Toa. This is 2001 from the Toa's perspective. Okay, so level 1 is a scene from Monog where Jaller and Kapura were in the Tawahi forest. So this would sort of be a tutorial segment where you play as Jaller and Kapura, and then you have to fight Tahu at the end, you know. Level 2, Gali, Toe of Water. Gali fights a Terakava. I don't know who player 2 would be. Anua, Toe of Earth. Anua and Onipu traverse Unukoro. Um, Struggle in the Drifts. Kopaka and Pohatu traverse Mount Ihu. Okay, so this is one of the more iconic moments of year 1. It's like Kopaka and Pohatu going up the mountain to get the Mask of Shielding, and they fight a Kene Ra. Level 5. This is where Tahu has to go into Unuwahi, and he runs into a bunch of Kofu Jaga. And I made Jaller player 2 here just because he talked to Tahu at the beginning of the scene. And they get a Mask of X-Ray Vision. Lack of Unity, this is based on the comics. So the comics, I think it was a 2-part comic, but it might have just been one comic. It was like Liwa and Gali kind of go on their own paths. But when they're on their own, they miserably fail to the Rahi. But it's like at the end of the comic, they meet up with each other and they're able to fight a Mawaka together, and it's pretty cool. I think since they were thematically similar, I put them in the same level. Just because. Cool as ice. Kopake retrieves a mask of strength from the Tawahi volcano, and I put Matt Toro as player 2 because why not? United We Stand. Okay, so this I think was another comic. The Toa were like meeting in a jungle somewhere. It might have been at Kininui, but then it was like, and it might have actually been for the books. Actually, I think it was like Makuta sends them a storm and like a whole bunch of Rahi or something, and it's kind of like the moment where they decide Unity is based and start being based about Unity. Level 9 is called the Golden Masks. This is a very fast-paced recreation of all of the Chapter 10 stories. Because Chapter 10 was kind of like 4 different stories at once, so I just decided to put them into the same chapter. And I don't have a Mangaya level here. I might put a Mangaya level here. There should be a climax of some kind here. But in regards to Mangaya, we have Chapter 2, which is 2001 from Takua's perspective. So we have the Chronicler Awakens. Takua and Kapura will be player 2, explore Tawahi and Takoro. The Tarakava, player 2 will be Maku, and they save Gakoro. And then there's the Tarakava fight when Gali shows up. The Madness, Takua and Hafu explore Pokoro, meet Huki and Anua, and then Pohatu comes in and he fights the Nui Jug at the end. Level 4 is the Great Mine. It's like Uno Wahi and Uno Koro, that stuff. Onipu's player 2. Jungle of Leiwahi. Okay, so this has like 2 segments. There's a segment at the beginning where you're playing as Takua and Tepu and you're exploring Leiwahi. Then he gets kidnapped. Then player 2 becomes Kongu. And then you have like a Gukko riding segment. It's like a vehicle segment. And then at the end of the vehicle segment, there's like the boss fight against Liwa. Is like player 1 would be Anua, and I guess player 2 would be like the other Matt Torin there in the hive. Level 6 is the slopes of Mount Ihu. Player 2 will be Kopik. Until Takua goes off on his own to find Matt Toro. And then you have a Mawaka fight where player 2 will be Matt Toro, and maybe player 3 could be Takua. The Chronicler's Company. This is level 7. This is the traversal to Kininui. Level 8 is the defense of Kininui. That should be familiar if you've played Minog. Mangaya. Okay, so I have 2 levels that take place in Mangaya. This first level is a split segment between Warua and Akamai. Then they come together to fight the Manaz and the Manako. And then they split apart into the Toa and fight the Shadow Toa. And then the final level is just the fight with Makuta. So Chapter 3 is the Borak arc. Level 1, the Borak Awake. So this is in the 2002 story when the Toa, like, first get out of Kininui and they go back to Takoro and see that it's being attacked by, like, Parak and Korak. Pokoro Surrounded, level 2. That's the animation where Hafu topples his statues, and then Pohatu has to come save him. Nuvok in the Tunnels. This is a scene from the book where Anua fights some Nuvok. I guess player 2 would be either Wanua or any, like, Unumat Torin. Level 4 is the Flood. This is Onipu, Tepu, and Nuparu building the Boxors and like using the Boxors to fight the Borak. Level 5 is Tanak in the Jungle. This is just a short level where Gali fights some Tanak in the jungle. It was from the books, and I guess Maku I made player 2. Level 6 is Fire and Ice. This is the level where Tahu and Kopaka were together. This is either based on the books or the comics. And they fight some Tanak, Linak, and Parak until they reach the opening between Ko and Lewahi. Canyon Trap. This is a comic that was expanded upon in the books, where it's like Gali and Patu set a trap for a Tanak, and then the novel mentions Kopaka helped at the end. Level 8 is Lee Koro attacked. So you have to fight like infected Liwa, and you also have to fight infected Matau. Level 9 is the attack on Ga Koro. This is like the final Borak animation where the Matoran all team up to fight the Panrak and Ga Koro. And then end of the Toa. This is the one where the Toa go into the Barag nest and they have to deal with all the trials and stuff, and then they fight the Barag at the end. Chapter 4, Powerless. This is the Borak Call arc. And what I did here was I combined the 3rd and 4th books. So there's like some scenes from the 3rd book and some scenes from the 4th book, because the way they wrote the 4th book, the 3rd book was like C.A. Hapka's last book, and it was like a very straightforward retelling of the Borak Call story. Book 4 is like events that took place around the same time, but it focuses on the collection of the masks, the Toa Nuva masks, and it was kind of like Greg's first book. It's kind of like Greg taking the reins, and like we got to see his writing style for once. So some of these scenes are from the 3rd book, some of these are from the 4th book, and some of these are from the comics. Symbol Thieves. So there's 2 parts to this. There's Nuju and Kopaka stopping a Korak call in Kokoro, and then Jalar, Takua, and Tahu fighting a Tanak call in Takoro. So just like the 2 segments we have where it was like it detailed how the Borak call stole the first symbols are here. And that's 1 level. Coming of the Call, level 2. This is a fight against all 6 Borak and Powahi. This is a pretty iconic scene in the Powerless arc. And it's like they can't fight them because they're powerless. The Search. Patu, Anua, and Gali search for the Barag's tomb, then fight a Tanak call. Don't remember the scene too well. Return to the Drifts. So this is kind of like a short story in the 4th book, I believe, that was meant to invoke the vibes of the original Struggle in the Drifts story, where Kopaka and Pohatu went through like Kowahi and found the mask. And they have a Mawaka fight here, and there's an avalanche. They get a mask of shielding. Level 5, Nuvak Call. Liwa and Tahu fight Nuvak Call. I don't remember that very well. Then Tahu and Tanakva lead the Tanak against Nuvak Call. Because at the end of the 2002 story, they reprogrammed the Borak husks to work for them. And there's a pretty iconic scene in the comics where Tahu leads a whole bunch of Borak against Nuvak Call, but Nuvak Call is able to like clear out all of them. He's just based. 6, the Sound Shape. This is the fight between Warua and the Borak Call Kaeda. And I made Kongu playable here just so you can have a play or 2 after you turn into Warua. So that's why Kongu's here. Toa of Earth, level 7. When Nuwa's tail and fight a big worm. Then Tahu and Jalar fight Parak Call. I don't remember either of these scenes too well, but they're from the books. Mysteries of Gawahi. Okay, so this is from the 4th book, where Gali had to fight a big fish underwater. And I made Nokama playable there. Then Pohatu and Anua fight Tanak Call. I guess there was a scene where Pohatu and Anua fought Tanak Call. I don't know where, but they did. Level 9 is Makuta's Revenge. This is the climax of the 4th book, where they find out that Makuta's back and they have to fight the Rahi Nui. And then this is the climax of the third book, Return to the Nest, where like the Borat Call bring their symbols in, and then like you have to fight them. Um, but they kind of like overload themselves and die. You know, it's sort of the iconic end of the Borat Call. That's level 10. Chapter 5, The Mask of Light. This is based on the movie as well as a few comics. The Great Kanohi Mask. So you get to play as Takua and Puku, and you get to explore the volcano. And then you have a lava surfing segment with Tahu at the end. Level 2 is the Great Koli Tournament. You play as Holly and Maku, and you just basically just have to um, win the Koli match. Here I have it listed that they go against Unukoro, Likoro, Kokoro, and then Takoro, like at the end. But I mean, you really could just make this level just the Takoro one if you wanted to. Destruction of Takoro. This is when you're defending Takoro as the Toa, and you fight the first set of Rakshi. Lirak, I think I like emphasized as the main boss here. The bear level. Jaller and Takua go through Leiwahi, and they have to fight a bear, and then there's a playable flying segment. Level 5, Liwa, Tahu, and Gully fight the first 3 Rakshi in the Powahi comics. So that's like a comic scene that a lot of people don't know about. Lake of Ice. This is the scene from the movie where Kopaka turns the lake to ice, and you're like playing in Kowahi a little bit, and then you have to fight the Rakshi at the ice lake. Welcome to Unukoro. So this is when the Rakshi attack Unukoro. I emphasize Vorak is the main boss here. A lot of this stuff should be familiar to you if you've seen the movie. The Krata Chamber. This is another comic scene. It was kind of a weird comic scene. I don't really know how it fit in the timeline very well. But you fight against all the Rakshi at the Krata Chamber. That was like a comic that existed. Level 9 is the 7th Toa. You defend against all the Rakshi at Kininui. And then the final level, level 10, is Mask of Shadows. You get to have a Makuta fight as Takanuva and Holly. I made Holly player 2 because why not? And then we have bonus chapters. I decided at the end of every, like, arc, so there's, like, the Chronicles, Adventures, and Legends. So at the end of every, like, series, I have a bonus chapter, which is, like, some extra levels that sort of relate to the chapter you just played. So, a lot of these levels are based on the GBA game. So there's the tutorial as Takua and Jaller, Unukoro as Takua and Tepu, Gakoro as Takua and Maku, Pokoro as Takua and Hafu, Likoro as Takua and Tamaru, Kokoro as Takua and Kopik, and then Takoro as Takua and Nuri. I guess Kapuro was like somewhere else during the game, so I couldn't make him playable, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't choose Kapura. I just chose Nuri, I guess. And then this level's blank. I don't have an idea for it yet. The Mattor Nui. This was like a promotional comic for like McDonald's where they fought a Nui Jaga and turned into the Mattor Nui to do it. And then there's the Rakshi Kaeta. This is a story based on 2003 storyline, which I believe took place after the defeat of Makuta, and it was basically there's just a random Rakshi Kaeta that exists, like out in Matnui, and like Liwa had to go fight him. It's a goofy comic. I guess it's because they wanted sort of a climax to the comics when the true climax of the thing was in the movie, but they put it after the fight with Makuta, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay. Chapter 6, The Morbuzak. So, level 1 is the Toa Mitru. This is based on the scene from the movie, where the Dark Hunters try to capture Lee Khan. So you get to play as Lee Khan and Vakama, and you have to fight Nadiki and Kareka. And then after that, that's not the full level, then you get to explore the Great Temple a little bit as, like, the Mattoran. Then I have the first two books of adventures as like most of this chapter. So Vizola and Orcam, this is the stuff in the first book, and it's split between Nokama and Matau. Uh, this is a split level between Whenua and Nuju, and this is a split level between Anua and Vakama, and this is all from the first book, which was pretty short. It was mostly an introduction to Metro Nui, and then the second book was all about like fighting the Morbuzak and stuff. So level 5 is Disc of Fire. You play as Team Vakama, and you have to get the Disc of Fire. Disc of Earth, you play as Team Whenua, and you have to get the Disc of Earth. Disc of Water, you play as Team Nokama, and you gotta get the Disc of Water. Disc of Ice, you play as Team Nuju, and you have to go get the Disc of Ice. And then you have this level, which I just combined two of the discs, because I think one of them was really short. You have to get the Discs of Stone, and then you have to get the Disc of Air, basically, and that's like the entire level. And then the final level is like their exploration through the Great Furnace, and their fight with the Morbuzak at the end. So that's the Morbuzak arc. Chapter 7, Legends of Mitra Nui. This is mostly the movie, but I also have a few levels based on the somewhat fillery book where they went into the archives and they had to fight Kraka. I think these first two levels are just like the two halves of that book, ending with like a Kraka fight at the end. Level 3 is the Great Colosseum, where like Trago Doom says, let's test them to see if they are really Toa. And they fail at Doom's challenges, and so it's like, they're sussy imposters after them. Level 4, Limitru Chase. This is the chase through Limitru. It was in the movie a lot. I think there was also some comics there as well. The airship, this scene was mostly in the comics, is basically Nadiki and Kreka fight them on the airship. This is like the comic where they shoot the teleportation disc at Kreka and he goes, "Hey, Toa!" That's that one. Then we have a level that's like entirely takes place in one of Akama's visions. I guess just because I ran out of stuff to make into levels. The Tatorak. This is like a Shadow of the Colossus style fight against the Tatorak. Abandoned Village. This is another scene from the movie. They go to Abandoned Village and they find a bunch of Kikanalo there. And then the next level is Beneath the City. So this is basically everything from Whenua and Anua and Nuju's perspective. Is like, okay, so they go down the trapdoor, they're chased by Rorzak, then they meet Lincoln, and you get to learn their powers. Then they fight a Troller, I guess. And then they meet the others, but then you also have to escape from some Lorak. And then the final level is the Great Cataclysm. And the first part, you ride on the back of the Lee-Con. I think player 1 controls the Lee-Con and player 2 uses a gun or something. And you're basically surviving at that point. But then the final part is like a proper boss fight against Makuta as Vakama and Lee-Con. Update 5. Okay, so Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is based on the books between the 2004 and 2005 storylines. These were kind of the stories where they go to Matanui and then they go back to Metronui. I just made both of those books into one full chapter. So it was like the book about Mavra and then the book about the Karzani plant. You know, these are both part of the same chapter. And I don't remember a lot of scenes from these. And I also don't know how many of these notes are accurate to what happened in the books. I liked these books. I just don't remember them very well. So I won't be... You can like pause this and read the stuff that's here. I think there's like... Yeah, there's like 4 levels based on the Mavra book, and then like I think 5 or 6 levels based on the Maze of Shadows, uh, the Karzani plant book. And it's just kind of like all the stuff that happened in that. Okay, Chapter 9, Love of Shadows. This one is pretty packed. This one is really, really packed. So, okay, so, because, like, this is 3 books, right? This is 3 books and comics and the movie. A City in Ruin. So this is like in the first book when they're exploring the ruined city. They explore a ruined Lee Mitru, um, stuff like that. I think part 2 is like the second half of that book. Um, and then level 3 is the scene where they're captured by the Vizirac and turned into Hordika. Which happened in the movie, but also happened in the first book of the Vizirac arc. Then there was the second book of the Vizirac arc, which was Challenge of the Hordika. It was like a really good book, honestly. It's the book that made me stop hating the fillery Vizirac arc. It made me like the Vizirac, honestly. Um, Chapter 4 is split between a Rodaka fight and Matau stuff, and then Nokama stuff. So it's kind of like, you know, the teams from earlier. Matau slash Nokama, Vakama, and Anua, and then Wanua and Nuju. So that's kind of like how I split up Challenge of the Hordika. I split it up by the teams that were in like the Morbuzak chapter. Um, and so it's kind of like this is all the stuff that happened between like those groups. Kagarak fight. Oh yes, I remember. I'm banishing you to the Shadow Realm. Okay, and then the 4th level, well, 4th of Challenge of the Hordika. This is like the what 7th level overall. Um, the 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 epic climax of Challenge of the Hordika was like a kaiju fight between the Tutorak and the Zevon. And I'm sure there will be playable segments as the Toa and stuff because, you know, they were doing a whole bunch of stuff as well during this. But the main draw of this level will be the fight between the Tutorak and the Zevon. So I'm going to have to explain to you how Titan battles work. So let me get out the, down here, Titan Rahi. These are characters that, some of these are unlocked in story mode, some of these are unlocked in free play. These are the characters that you can do Titan battles with. Basically, what a Titan battle is, think back to the original LEGO Star Wars game, the Mustafar level, Obi-Wan versus Anakin. Player 1 was the good guy, player 2 was the bad guy, and the goal of the level was to see which one of you could kill each other. That's basically what's going on here. However, I also think the Titan Rahi will play a little bit differently. You'll be in like this big environment with like destructible objects like buildings and stuff, or like elements of a landscape, and you'll be like these hulking giants, and you won't just be able to like punch the other one. You'll because you can like block. I think like the two of you guys you can like block. So you need to wait for an opening, and an opening would be like when they're trying to attack you. You can like charge up attacks maybe or something. And it's like I think maybe if you get hit enough times you lose the ability to block or something. Um, it'd be like sort of like this three-dimensional environment in the style of something like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. I don't know. My idea for it is like crazy. I don't even know if I can explain it very well. But like it's like a proper fighting combat, like balanced combat system where you get to play as two kaijus and fight each other, and you get to destroy stuff and collect studs as you do it. And this would basically be the first one that you get to play in the story mode that's like that. Zevon, for those of you that don't know, is this big creature that's a part of Sidorak's army that like eats Visorak, but it's like immensely powerful. So they bring the Zevon with them on their conquests, and whenever the Zevon goes into battle, it'll eat like half of the Visorak horde that it battled with. So it's like this crazy entity, and it fought the Tatorak, and it was such a cool scene. And I think that would be so fun to play through. Um, the battering ram. This is a scene from the comics where Matao no Kama entered the Colosseum in a battering ram. I don't think they did a lot. I just think it happened. I don't remember that comic too well. It happened. I don't think they accomplished anything with it. They just did it. And then we have the level that is the majority of the Web of Shadows movie. This entire level is all of the Toa Mitru going around Mitra Nui to try and find Kitangu. This is what I meant when I said that the Web of Shadows chapter was packed. It is packed. And then level 10, of course, is like the final fight at the end of the movie where they go to the Colosseum. You know, the whole, but I can't defeat him myself stuff. You know, we get to fight Rodaka and Sidorak. And you get to fight Vakama, and you need to turn him good guy again. That might be familiar to you if you've watched the movie. Chapter 10, I did not plan out the levels for Chapter 10. But Chapter 10, I was just going to entirely make Time Trap. This entire chapter was just going to be Time Trap. The thing about Time Trap, though, is that, like, I could not figure out the level distribution for this. Because I'm basically trying to split one book up into 10 levels, and I don't know if that's possible. I mean, maybe you could spend, like, multiple levels inside of Vakama's dream or whatever it was, I guess. And maybe you could have some related levels about the Dark Hunters to start out with. Maybe you could. I don't know. And then another thing is just, I would not know how the final level would work. Because the final level is, like, Makuta chasing Vakama and trying to get the Mask of Time. But Vakama's alone, and, like, no character you could choose for player 2 makes sense there. Unless, of course, the Rahaga are still here and they just meet up with Vakama. It's just like Vakama meets Norik. It's like, hey, what's up, Norik? I'm trying to get this Mask of Time away from Makuta. I guess that could work. But yeah, Makuta himself will be a player 2 in a lot of these levels. So, yeah, that to look forward to. Okay, so the bonus chapter here is a lot of stuff based on both, like, the history of Metra Nui as well as stuff involving the Dark Hunters. And so I'm taking from a lot of sources here. I'm taking from that book that was, like, the backstory of the Paraka, Legacy of Evil, I think it was called. I'm taking inspiration from, like, some short stories and stuff. I'm taking inspiration from a lot of places here. So this is, like, so you get to play as villains, you get to play as heroes. This is a bonus chapter, so that's fine. Level 1 will be Hakon and Vezok stealing a Makoki stone. And then part 2 of this level is they go to Odina and they fight Lariska. Level 2 is when Zaktan tried to stage a coup on the Shadowed One. Tried to overthrow the Shadowed One and he got punished for it. Level 3, first you get to play as Vezok and Radak, and you have to unleash the Kanoe Dragon. Then you have to play as Nadiki and Likan trying to stop the Kanoe Dragon, basically. Level 4 is Tuyet's Betrayal. So that's like Tuyet's story. You know, first they fight the Devastator, and then you have to fight Tuyet. I guess you'd play as Likan and Nadiki, I guess. Death of the Toa. This is like when Nadiki betrays Likan. And then like the level continues on to have Hakan, Lariska, and Nadiki fighting Likan. I think my idea was that you play as the Dark Hunters here and you fight Likan. Yeah. I think that was my idea. And then the next level is Nadiki and Kreka going on a mission together to steal Matoran launchers, but then Nadiki tries to escape and gets punished for it. Then we have the Toahaga. This is the Toahaga's backstory, where Norik and Aruna steal the Mask of Light and try to escape, but then Rodaka turns them into the Rahaga. Then this level is called the Makoki Stone. Fast-paced recreation of the Hordika animations. Sure, just put them all into one level. That'll work fine. Makuta's plans. Radak, Thok, and Zaktan fight Vizorak and find Makuta's end-of-the-world game plan. Yeah, so this was like a scene in, I believe it was Legacy of Evil, where the Paraka are like fighting Vizorak on some island, and they find out, and like Zaktan finds out Makuta's plan. And that leads into the next level, the climax of this, which is the Paraka exploring Makuta's lair. And they have to fight a Manako at the end. And this transitions very nicely into the next chapter, Voyage of Doom. So, level 1 is when the Paraka arrive on the island. And you get to play as the Voyanui Resistance team a little bit here at the beginning. You have Dalu and Pyrrhus stealth fighting Avok. Then there's some stuff in the Stronghold. And then Hakken and Avok fight a lava monster so they can, like, prove their heroism or whatever. Level 2 is when the Toa Nuva arrive, and they try to fight the Paraka, but they fail epically. So then part 2 is, like, you know, after the Paraka try to take them up the mountain, they have to escape the volcanic eruption. And then part 3 is that they have to fight some Matoran in, like, a weakened state, but they can't do it because the Matoran are the ones they swore to protect. Level 3 is Karzani. This is when the Matoran and Nika go to Karzani, and they have to escape Karzani. Fight Karzani should be in red here. Fight Karzani should be in red. This is a boss fight. It should be in red. Yep. The Paraka Stronghold. The Toa Nuva and Matoran storm the Paraka Stronghold. And there's a Brutaka fight at the end. So this is like when the Toa Nuva tried to do things themselves, but then they failed. Level 5, Radak's Bastion. Axon fights Radak, Thok, and Brutaka in the desert. Axon and a Matoran. So I have to explain this to you guys. I have to go to the character list. I think there's a character here somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. P2. This is a Matoran I made up entirely for this level. Just so that Axon could have a player 2 in this segment. Maybe he was infected with the Antidermis and Axon cured him somehow. Maybe he's the secret 7th member of the Voyanui Resistance team we never knew about this entire time. I think the idea was the other members of the Voyanui Resistance team were doing something else at the time. So, like, I needed an entirely different character to help Axon in this segment. That's funny to me. Level 6 is when the Anika arrive on the island. First, there's like a brief segment where the Matoran fight Vezok. I guess that happened in the books. Then the Toa Anika trek through the jungle and fight Vezok themselves. And then level 6, this is the Stronghold. This is when the Toa Anika storm the Stronghold. Avok's Dynamo fighting all Paraka and Brutaka. I think I left that there just because it's like, use the Avok's Dynamo music here. Level 8, Power Play. The ultimate Hakken/Thok fight. So in the books, like, Hakken and Thok stole some of Brutaka's power. And so then they went to go look for the Mask of Life. But then they started fighting each other. And so it's like, you have to survive them fighting each other, but you also have to fight them. So it's like, you fight them, and then there's a split segment between the Toa Nuva being rescued and Axon fighting Brutaka. Because Axon was, like, fighting Brutaka for, like, the rest of the Voyanui arc at this point. Next level, Staircase of 777 Steps. This is a majority of the stuff that happened on the 777 steps, and it is both from the Toa Anika and Paraka perspective. You jump between the two of them throughout this level. You jump between playing as all of them. So you get to play as all the Paraka in story mode, which is fine. And there's a lot of boss fights in that one. And then the final level is like Vazon's Awakening. This is like Vazon's Chamber. And you have to fight Vazon and Fenrak and Cardis, and then you have to run out of the staircase. This will sort of be one of those auto-running segments, like in the Lord of the Rings game, where you just have to like run from something that's chasing you. And then I left at the end here that there is going to be a Titan battle. I told you about Titan battles. This is the second story mode Titan battle. And it's the Tatorak versus Cardaz. Because I think it was something crazy. Where it was like a portal opened up for the Tatorak to come through and fight Cardaz. And this is a fight that I'm fine being at the end of the story and not relating to the main protagonists at all. Just because Cardaz was the final boss anyway. And this is just kind of what happened to him afterwards. Okay, Chapter 12, The Dark Pit. Attack on Mari Nui. So this is before the Toa get here. This entire segment right here is the Mari Nui arc. If I remember right, there is a lot of stuff packed into this as well, like with Web of Shadows, but I think I managed to streamline this one a little bit more, maybe just a little bit. Okay, so level 1, Attack on Mari Nui. So this is split between Defilak's expedition and a submarine and a defense of Mari Nui, like after the Baraki started attacking it. After that, Dekar and Athulok's escape. So, like, Dekar was alone for the most part, but I think Athulok's will be player 2. Those are like those scorpion creatures that shoot air bubbles. And then the final playable segment will be Gar and Idris escaping. Because I think Defilak was like captured by Prydak or something during the events of the story. I don't remember too much. Through the Cord. Lezovic shows up, and he and Sarda fight Karzani. Then the Toa go through the Cord. And after that, there's a Venom Eel fight. So this is like that canceled book where the Toa go through the Cord. But there is there's a brief Karzani fight at the beginning. Because Karzani's kind of like stomping around in Mari Nui, doing his own things. Level 3, Baraki's Lair. Nuperu and Holly fight a squid. Then Jaller and Kongu fight Kalma Karpar and a sea creature. I don't think I remember what that's talking about exactly. I might have messed up my notes here a little bit. I think Baraki Lair was supposed to be a level that took place like inside the Baraki Lair, where it was like the Toa Mari were pretending to be like allies with the Baraki, like they were other prisoners of the pit or something. They were pretending. Level 4 is Hunt for the Mask, cause right here I have Jaller and Kongu fight Kalma and Karpar, but then here I have Jaller and Kongu fight Kalma and Karpar. So I think I just kind of like... I think that's probably the same scene, maybe? I don't remember. And then Nuperu and Huki escape from some Venom Eels, I guess. I don't remember these, like, small scenes very much. I told you Mari Nui was packed. Level 5, the Nui Stone. Matoro and Maxilos. So that's like Makuta and the Maxilos robot. They fight Prydak and Tagadox. And then you have a split segment between Holly fighting Mantax and, like, the rest of the stuff with the Nui Stone. Next level, the Staff of Artaka. This is actually from the Toa Nuva's perspective. They infiltrate Odina. Then there's a Titan. There's the third Titan fight of the story mode between the Torak and the Konoe Dragon on Zaya. And then you have to fight Icarax on Karzani. That is a packed level. This is all based on like the Toa Nuva blog stuff. It is like I felt like this was important to put into the main storyline during the 2007 story. So I did. That is a packed level. Next level, Battle of Tyrants. This is when Maxilos fights Karzani. And then after him, Lezovic shows up and he fights Karzani. And then Brutaka fights Maxilos. So this is just like a boss endurance level between like the various Titan sets. Next level, tasks required. This is the rest of the Toa Nuva stuff. The Toa find the heart of the Vizrak. They quell some volcanoes, and they locate the Red Star. Then there's Return to Voyanui. Hydraxon and Thulox fight Nocturne. So yeah, this is the fight between Hydraxon and Nocturne. Then Mantax, and then go up Cord and fight the Paraka Snakes. There's just so much I packed into every single level. And then Matt Toro's Destiny. This is the final level. It's like kind of, they come down in the terrain crawler, and they have a big fight against Gadunka, and then they have a fight against Togadox and Mantax on the back of like Manta Rays or something. And then they fight Maxilos and Hydraxon. Yeah, this is like that big commercial, but it's like canon to the books, right? It's like the commercial was sort of an abridged version of what happened in the books. It's like Matt Toro throws Maxilos in ice, and then he reveals that Maxilos has been Makuta the entire time. And then after that, you have a split segment where you're playing as Maxilos fighting the hordes of Baraki creatures. And destroying the Cord. And then after you destroy the Cord, there's like an auto-scrolly segment where you're playing as the Toa Mari as they're like swimming away from all the Baraki and trying to race the island to get the Mask of Light to the place and time. That was like one of my favorite climaxes in all of Bionicle. So yeah, another very packed chapter, honestly. There's a lot there. But speaking of packed stuff, we're about to move into the 2008 storyline. And it takes up 3 entire chapters all to itself. Okay, so you can see some of these are colored to be purple, and some of these are colored to be green. The purple stuff refers to stuff going around the entirety of the Matt Torrin universe as like all these different side characters and stuff, where it's like the Destiny War was going on, and so it's like, you know, they're doing stuff. The green stuff refers to what the Toa Nuva were doing. So you got chapter 13, which is Fantoka stuff. You got chapter 14, which is Takanuva stuff. And then you have chapter 15, which is the Mystica stuff. Okay, so let's go over these levels, shall we? Level 1. Botar and Trinuma fight Icarax. I think, is this when Botar died? And then later, and then the level continues on to show Takanuva fighting Icarax and Metronui. I might even cut this bit out with Botar, because it was only ever mentioned. It was never really shown. So, I mean, like, the main part of this would be Takanuva fighting Icarax. Okay, first Fantoka level. The Avmet Torn defend themselves and ride Toa-like vehicles against the Fantoka Makuta. So this, I think, is before the Toa get here. So you're playing as the Avmet Torn and, like, you're defending yourselves. The boat level. So this is Federation of Fear. This is when the Federation of Fear steal a boat, sail to Zakaz, and then you have to fight Spiria because you tried to do a mutiny. After that, you have the Cardinui defense, where it's like the Toa arrive, and then they defend the Avmet Torn village. And you fight Mutran. And Lyra runs, but he comes back, and then you have an Antros fight. I don't remember. I don't remember the Toa perspective of 2008 too much. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Destiny War stuff was more interesting to me in 2008 when I was listening through the story. Although I did really like Ignika as a character. That probably was the most interesting part of the Toa perspective. Okay, we're back to Federation of Fear. This is when they go to Trenkrom's Island. Okay, so now we go back to the Toa. This is when they start to infiltrate Mutran's lair. They have to fight Mutran and Vikan and like a big Rahi. And then they have to fight Ignika because Ignika turns on them briefly because he's like an AI trying to learn human morality. Next level, Artidax. So we're back to Federation of Fear. Black Sand fight, I guess. This is when they arrive on Artidax and they explore Artidax, and then they free Miserix at the end. Okay. Next level, Escape from the Hive. There's a Mask of Speed runny bit. You break some leech fats, and then you break the hive. Like, this is the scene where it's like they fly around the hive, and then like they basically make the Makuta's base fall. They just break the Makuta's base from where it's being hung, and it just falls down. It's such a funny scene to me. Poor Mutran. Okay. And then the climax of the Destiny War stuff is fighting Paraka on Zakaz as Axon and Brutaka. So we were basically done with Federation of Fear when we freed Miserix. So this is just like another side story. And then the climax of Fantoka is when Icarax arrives. Yeah, and they have to fight Icarax. Yeah, so he's like the final boss of Unity. Okay, Chapter 14, Duty. A Past Forgotten. So this is the Takanuva stuff, right? I have the Takanuva stuff split into 5 levels. And then I have Brothers in Arms and Dwellers of Darkness here as well. A Past Forgotten. Takanuva level starts with visions of past Avoca fight as Toa Mata and their escape from the coach. Oh yeah, I think this is a flashback level. Yeah, I think this is a flashback level where it shows like the Toa Mata in the past as they fight Avoca. Haga versus Mari. So this is the scene in Dwellers of Darkness where the Haga are told to blow up the Colosseum, but the Mari won't let them. But first it starts out with the Toa Haga fighting the Totorak, wherever it was. And then they meet Helorix, and then they have to fight the Toa Mari, and then they, like, fight a creature after that, I guess. It's like when they started going into the tunnels. The Silver City. Oh, this is like the child book. This is like the children's book where Takanuva fights a beast in like a city in like an alternate dimension, and he fights a beast. But then the mask was like, "No, go back. That beast was the resident of the city." So he goes back and makes things right. Yeah. So that's the next Takanuva level. The Heart of the Visorak. Takadox and the Toa Mari destroy the heart of the Visorak. Oh yes, the funny scene where the Toa Mari arrived to try and, like, destroy the Visorak. But Takadox is there, and he mind controls them. And he leaves them to die. But then, like, just at the last minute, the Toa Mari break their hypnosis, and then they're able to escape. Oh yes, that funny scene. The Kingdom. Exploration of the Kingdom. Meet Toa Tanma and Matt Toro, and then you fight the Rakshi and the Makuta. Yeah, so this is another alternate dimension that Takanuva went to. Mazika. Mazika fights Voltraz. Then cutscene with Tom Dunn. I think the idea here was that He fought Voltraz in. I think they lived in Metronui. I think they were in Metronui. They might have been somewhere else. Uh, then after that, the playable segment goes on to show him fighting Voltraz in Cardanui. And then there's a cutscene with Tobduck that I don't entirely remember how Brothers in Arms went. But if I remember right, if I go here, I think I did have those as hang on, it's in my notes somewhere. Kohup is a non-canon Avmatoran who helps Mazika in his fight with Voltraz. Oh, he's here somewhere. Where's Kohup? Where is Kohup? I can't find him. I can't find Kohup. Oh, he's right here. Yeah, Kohup. Because we have P2 and now we have Kohup. And I think the other one was Split-Screen. Like split screen, but it's Split-Screen. He's a non-canon Unumatoran assisting Mazika in his first fight with Voltraz. Where is he? Split-Screen. Yeah, Split-Screen right there. Yeah. I thought ahead. Because Mazika's kind of on his own during Brothers in Arms. So I needed him to fight alongside someone. I don't know, maybe Tobduck could be player 2 the whole time. I don't know. Next level, Dark Mirror. Oh yeah. This is the alternate universe where Tuyet took over everything. Oh yeah, and it split it up into 2 levels as well. So like I had sort of like the introduction segment, and then I had the second half that actually had the Tuyet fight later on. Okay, so infiltration of Destral. Vezon steals the Olmec from the Makuta. Then Tobduck and Mazika come in to fight that Makuta. Yeah. Oh wait, hang on. Oh wait, there were multiple parts to Brothers in Arms. I split up Brothers in Arms into multiple parts as well. Okay, I'm not explaining this very well. That Makuta. Was that Tridax or was that some other Makuta? I can't remember. The final death of Toa Tuyet. This is the end of Dark Mirror with like the Tuyet fight. And then Brothers in Arms. This is the final Voltraz fight in what's it called? Cardanui. And then they have the cutscene where Melding Pterodax goes home with Mazika. Okay, Chapter 15, Destiny, Mystica, Takanuva's blog, and Dwellers in Darkness. Okay. So I didn't finish Dwellers in Darkness here. I just had some levels up here. Alright. Mystica. Split between the initial fights of Biddle, Gorest, and Kreka. Yeah, because, like, the Mystica story started out with, like, the different Toa fighting the different Makuta. And so, like, I just handled that through, like, multiplayer splitting. And finding the Borak construction zone. This is where the Avmatoran were turned into Borak. That'll kind of, like, be the end of the level. Next level, Out of the Pit. A battle as the Baraki. Then the Baraki go to Zia and ally with the Shadowed One. So this is a level where you get to play as the Baraki. This is, like, Destiny War stuff. The final Makoki Stones. Distracting the Makuta, entering their camp, and finding the Makoki Stone. Yeah. Level 4, Energized Protodermis. Was it the Makoki Stones? I think I might have even left that note wrong. It might have been called something else. Energized Protodermis. Hellerix and Kitongu fight Energized Protodermis. They go to the island where Energized Protodermis lives, and he was like, oh ho ho, look at me, I'm Energized Protodermis. And then they fight Energized Protodermis. It was really funny. Battle Royale. Fight against all the Makuta at the Kodrex. Substance of Shadows, level 6. Brutaka and Axon have to go find the Makuta substance, and they have to fight it. Takanuva arrives. Takanuva and Gali fight Kreka. Journey to the Kodrex. Fight Nyazesk, and fight some Makuta to enter the Kodrex. Ooh, next level, Dwellers in Darkness. This is when the Toahaga are doing their journey beneath the Colosseum, and then they have to fight Pterodax as Miserix at the end. It says Pterodax boss fight as Miserix. I think this is just like Miserix moves in to like try to smash the computers and Pterodax freezes him. I'm not gonna do the reveal here. I'm gonna skip over some of Pterodax's dialogue so that the reveal is not here. Right? By the way, big spoilers. If you care about the Bionicle storyline, go away. I'm about to spoil everything. These last 2 levels, I'm about to spoil everything. So, I wanted the Battle of Metra Nui to be last, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so the Awakening. Jetrax fight. Ignika fight, because Ignika doesn't want to sacrifice himself, and he's like throwing a fit, because the only way to awaken Metra Nui is to sacrifice himself, and he's like lashing out in anger, frustration, whatever. There's the Icarax fight as like the other Makuta, because Icarax is like, oh, I'm big cheese now, and then they have to fight Icarax like on top of the Kodrex. There's a Biddle and Chirox fight, there's a Gorast fight, and then there's like a final vehicle segment. So like, I think the final vehicle segment is like after this this boss endurance of a level. I think is like Ignika goes down and he awakens Metra Nui, and so like the final vehicle segment is like driving out of Carta Nui before the electric storm like kills everyone basically. Okay. Final level. Battle of Metra Nui. First you have a Voporak fight as Vakama. Like there was that scene. And then you have like the Battle of Metra Nui itself as like the Toamari and Krakua, and you get to awaken the Borak during this fight. So the reason I put the Battle of Metra Nui last, I have this idea for a really cool scene where you're like in the middle of this level, and like once you've gotten through enough of this level, the camera like pans up to show the twin suns of Metra Nui opening, and like Move Along by All American Rejects starts playing, and it's like this beautiful scene where it's like he is finally awakening. The day is saved. He is finally awakening. And I just think that'd be really cool. I just think that'd be really cool as like sort of a final moments of this chapter, even if the real climax was like what the Toa, you know, it's like the Toa did this. It's kind of like how like the Darth Vader fight was level 5 and then Escape from Bespin was level 6 just because Escape from Bespin ended last. I just think I just think that's kind of my logic to why Battle of Metra Nui is last instead of the fight at the Kodrex. Bonus chapter 3, the Mutran Chronicles. Okay, so this is kind of, I think this is stuff involving the Makuta. Paraka attack. The Paraka attacked the Toa Nuva after the eventual Voyage of Doom. Oh yeah, I think there was a scene where it's like at the end of I think this was either a comic that like I didn't have room for, or it was like at the end of the Voyanui saga where it was like the Toa Nuva and Paraka had a little scuffle, a little skirmish. Zyglak. Tagadot's, Mantax, and Kalma flee from the Zyglak. This was like a comic about the Zyglak. Nocturne roughs them up at the end. Hydraxon's tale. Hydraxon and Spinax fight Prydak. I think this was after the events of Mari Nui. And it was like Hydraxon and Spinax went to go find the prisoners of the pit and bring them back. Norik and Varian. Norik, Varian, and Grey chase Lurker and Gatherer. I guess this is like a side story that I don't remember too well. Metra Nui Civil War. It's the Metra Nui Civil War. It was the Metra Nui Civil War where it's like at the end all the Matoran were thrown into the archives as a punishment. Level name. Makuta and Gorast fight Miserix. Okay, this is when Miserix was overthrown, I think. Then the fight between Vizirac and Skakti on Zakaz. Okay, so I guess it's both the overthrowing of Miserix and when the Skakti went crazy. Artaka raid. Koljul and his Rakshi attack Artaka to get the Mask of Light. Insubordination. Makuta fights Icarax. Okay, I guess there was a scene where Icarax tried to pick a fight with Makuta. Didn't go too well. Toa Jovan. Toa Jovan and his team travel to Voyanui and heal the Great Robot. Oh yeah, Toa Jovan. Like the Oh, that's a good idea for a bonus level. Some stuff based on Toa Jovan stuff. Great Cataclysm, Jovan, the Baraki, and any Admit Torn's perspective of the Great Cataclysm. Oh. Yeah. That's a good climax as well. And then there's a Hydra. Oh, and then there's a Hydraxan fight as the Baraki at the end because they escaped. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's just the Voyanui, Marinui, and Cardinui perspectives of the Great Cataclysm. Yeah. That's crazy. That would be a crazy level. Okay. So now we get to go to Barra Magna. Um yeah, okay. So I split this up. I split Barra Magna up into 3 chapters rather than the regular 5 and then another bonus chapter. Sands of Barra Magna. Barracks, Terex, Gresh, and Strack fight Pharaoh, Skirmix, and Vorox through desert. And then there's a scroll fight in the arena. Okay. The Crossing, first third of the Crossing short story. Infiltration of Roxas, second third of the Crossing. Dwell in the Sand, last third of the Crossing. There was a lot of short stories during the Barra Magna arc. There's a lot of short stories in it. And I guess that's what a lot of this first chapter is about. Riddle of the Great Beings, Tarduk's team journey, fight wolves, meet Sorel, Sword Forest, and Jungle Lord fight. The River Dominus. So this is more of the Riddle of the Great Beings story. It was like Tarduk's team. Yeah, I think these next few these 2 levels are basically 2 halves of the Riddle of the Great Beings, where it's like Tarduk was looking for the Great Beings or whatever. Fall of Atero. Oh yeah, this is when the Skrull take Atero. Yeah. Journey to Volcanus. Gelu, Gresh, and the gang journey to Volcanus. Trouble at Volcanus. The gang get chased by bone hunters to Malum, and then the raid on Volcanus. Final fight against the bone hunters at the end of raid on Volcanus, and then you get to fight Pharaoh. Pharaoh's the final boss. Okay. I just wanted a lot of these short stories before Matanui arrived to be their own chapter. Just because I think they're like, you know, it's kind of like 2 halves of the year. This was the first half of the year, and then the Glatorian Legends was like the later half of the year. Part 19, The Legend Reborn and Reign of Shadows. I split up this chapter between the events of The Legend Reborn and the events that were going on in the Matorian universe during the 2009 story. Reign of Shadows, Tayo and his gang fight Exotoa on Karzani, and then they destroy a Roxy factory. A Hero Reborn. You fight the Vorax's Matanui and Click. And then there's like the Sandbat fight when they were like driving to the Fire Village. Vaison, Toa of Anarchy. Vaison and Tarduk in the alternate dimension. There was like a story with Vaison in an alternate dimension. Journey to Tejun. Strack fight. So this is when Ekar fights Strack. I don't know who player 2 would be here. It might be like a player versus player thing. I could see that working in Glatorian combat. then it's like then there was like the scene where it's like they were going through the canyon, I think. So there was like the bone hunters there, and then there's the Scopio fight at the end of that. It was like maybe the Strat fight could be in this level, but I don't know. Makuta of Light. Mazika and Light Makuta from the alternate dimension make their way through the Matoran universe. Okay. Ruins of Taejun, exploring the ruins of Taejun, and you get to fight a rock steed at the end, which I think happened in like the books, maybe. Yeah, I think that happened in the books or something. I don't remember that. I don't think it happened in the movie. The golden skinned being. The Toamari go to Zakaz and discover the forming of a golden skinned being. Baramagma United. Um, there's like a fight against Terex in the arena, and then you get to play as Kenix and Barracks a little bit before they get captured. The fate of a universe. Oh yeah, I think this is the I think this is like when Miserix gets unfrozen, and then there's like this huge fight over whether or not we should kill the Matoran universe to kill Makuta. Right. And then final level, the mighty Tuma. Matanui fights Tuma and the Skrull army in the arena. I guess player 2 could be Click, I don't know. And then you get to play as the Matoran. Yeah, okay. I don't know about my level distribution here. It might be a little bit weird, but I mean, it's there. Okay. Final chapter. This is the climax. This is the climax, everyone. The climax. Metis's Revenge. Two Scarabax beetles fight Snake Metis. Guys, trust me. This is the final. This is the climactic. This is based on that little short story where the Scarabax beetles fought the Snake Metis. And then after that, the level continues on to show like the story where it's like Matanui's gang fought some Skrull, but then afterwards they had to separate. Sama the Slaver. Akar, Kina, and Gresh fight Skrull separate from Matanui, and fight the Baranus, which I guess the Baranus showed up. Maze of the Great Beings. Matanui and Click go through the maze. Maybe Tarduk should be player 2 here? Maybe. I don't remember if Tarduk went through with him. Voyage of Destiny. Tau and Takanuva sail through the Matoran universe in an effort to escape. This is like Tahu and Takanuva trying to escape the Matoran universe. Foot of the Giant. Gresh and the Glatorian try to get inside the Matoran universe. Then Tahu / Takanuva. There's like a brief Tahu / Takanuva fight because they don't really know what Tahu and Takanuva are. Revenge of the Skrull. Gresh and Kina fight Skrull and obtain the golden armor. Rakshi Rumble. Takanuva and his double. What? Takanuva and his double. I don't know who his double was. But fight Rakshi and get the golden armor. I don't remember that too well. King of the Skakti. No, not King of the Skrull. King of the Skakti. Tau and Akar fight Nekton and get the final piece of golden armor. Toa of Shadow. So this is based on Mazika and melding Pterodax, and they fight all those they fight the Shadow Takanuva army that Tridax was building up earlier. It's like I put that here, I guess. And then this is the final level. So I have it listed as split between Titan Makuta fight and Survivalist Tau and Takanuva on the battlefield below, but I think this should just be like our fourth and final story mode Titan Rahi battle, and it's just like player 2 is Makuta. And you could get like this terrible alternate ending where it's like Makuta wins and then he becomes like master of the universe or something. Yeah, this is the final level. It's the fight against Makuta. And it's like Titan Rahi. This is what the Titan Rahi fights we're building up towards. Bonus chapter 4, A World in Ruins. So this is like Baramagna backstory, I think. The Shattering. Ranu and Kiri find the liquid protodermis, and Terex fights in the Core War. Rise and fall of the Skrull. The Skrull are first to burn down their city because of the Batera. The Exile's Tale. Boss fight against Malum. The Secret of Sertivus. Gresham Barracks do stuff. I think this was also some unimportant Baramagna stuff. I put the important Baramagna stuff in the earlier part, but this is also some unimportant Baramagna stuff. Escape from Roxas. Malum gets captured by Skrull, but then he escapes. Sisters of the Skrull. Tuma and Stronius go to the Skrull Sisters. Then Illusion fight. Then Batera fight. Yeah, I think this was like the story where it was like... Yeah, this was a story where Midas knew how to stop the Batera, but Tuma didn't. So Tuma had to team up with Metis because Metis knew how to stop the Batera. Just drop your weapons, loser. Just drop your weapons before the storm. A vehicle fight against a Sendox. I guess this is like a comic or something. Samad's Tale. La da da da, la da da da. Samad's Tale. Samad, Teleris, and Snake made us journey through the desert, but they get captured at the end. New Adaro, Samad and New Adaro. And then Anona the Dream Eater. Running from the Dream Eater, then Golden Skin Being versus Anona. Bionicle lore is nuts, guys. Bionicle lore is nuts. And then I think the idea was maybe that, the powers that be would be like its own chapter, and like we could finish up the story. And then the Yesterday's quest could be its own chapter, and we could finish up the story. Like, if we're making this, we could, like, finish the story as well. Like, the post-mortem serials. And they could go on for as long as we want, right? Like, yeah, like, we're not gonna be able to make this. No way on Earth, no way in hell, maybe way in heaven. Maybe. Maybe. And then I didn't have these divided up into levels just because I didn't feel like going over the G2 storyline, but I did kind of think that some of the G2 stuff could be turned into games as well. Update 11, Titan... Ooh! Okay, so now we're getting into some of the free play stuff. Titan Rahi fights. There is a co-op mode and a 1v1 mode. Story mode unlocks playable Titan Rahi and playable player-sized versions of... Oh, okay. So it's like when you unlock a Titan Rahi, you can have like a small version of that Titan Rahi that you can just play as in like regular levels. But then you have the big ones, which you can only play as in, like, the Titan Rahi fights. So I think the idea here was that every single island would have its own Titan battle arena. And when you play through that in story mode, quote-unquote story mode, you would then unlock that boss as like a playable character. You would unlock that Titan Rahi as a playable character. And so some of these I don't have chosen. But we have Matanui. That would be an arena. Metronui. I mean, I guess this would basically be the one from the level, but it'd be like a bonus one you could play in free play. You fight the Morbizak. Abandoned Metronui. You fight the Karzani plant there instead. Oh yeah, because the look is different between the two, isn't it? Karzani, you get a stone ape. Zakaz, you get the golden skin being. Zia, you get the Kanohi dragon. Stelt, you get the Totorhak. Stelt is required as first play because Totorhak is unlocked in story mode. Okay. Odina, don't have anything chosen for that. Ninra, you unlock Fenrak. I don't know why. I just did it that way. Vizorak, the island of Vizorak, you unlock the Zevon. Artaka, I don't have anything there. Trenkrom's Isle, you unlock Trenkrom, of course. And like these tentacly creatures, I think they're gonna look very funny moving around in the Titan Rahi fight. Like the Morbuzak, the Karzani, and the Trenkrom. Like, I think just imagine how like the Rathtars moved around in the Lego game. That's basically how they move around in the Titan Rahi fights. It'd be funny. Destrol, don't have anything chosen for that. Voyanui would be the Cardaz Dragon. Marinui would be like a Titan Gadunka. Cardinui, don't have anything chosen. Daxia would be Hoserix. I like me my giantesses. Energized Protodermis Isle would be the Energized Protodermis Bing. Kitongu's Isle, don't have anything chosen. Artidax would be like a big Miserix, a big Makuta Miserix. Bear Magna would be Scopio. United Village, don't have anything there. The Battlefield. The Battlefield. I think this is just like the sort of like cosmic battlefield. Like the sort of like it's like the surface of Baron Magna, but you'd be playing as something so big that you'd be reaching up over the clouds, so it'd look like you're like the size of the Matt Torn Universe robot, but you could bring any of the Titan Rahi into this level. Boda Magna would be a Bodasaur. Aqua Magna would be the Matt Torn Universe itself. And then Spherus Magna would be Anona, like the Dream Demon Anona. Free play mode allows you to pick your player, boss, and setting. So you can like choose. You can, when you play through story mode, you have to fight these characters first, but afterwards, you can just pick whatever you want, whatever combination you want to fight in like the Titan Rahi battles. You can choose it. Sports matches, choice between Koli, Stick Koli, and Akalini. There's a co-op and player versus player option as well. Takoro, Jaller, and Takua. Oh, I guess this is like a team you can choose, maybe? Yeah. Sports matches. I think the idea here is that there's like an arena on every hub world, maybe every Koro or Wahi as well, where it's like you can play sporty matches or whatever. Oh no, I think it is just the Koros and Mitrus. Yeah. So like there's a free play where you can play in like different Koli arenas and then the Coliseum. And I'm guessing this is like the team you play as in story mode, maybe? I don't remember. But yeah, it basically plays similarly to the championship level from Mask of Light. Voyanui boss arenas. I cannot remember what the boss arenas were. These are the characters from Bionicle Heroes. So, like, I don't know, maybe there was an idea to just have just as like a homage to Bionicle Heroes, we could recreate the Bionicle Heroes boss fights as like bonus levels. I guess. There's a Glatorian arena. There's Volcanus. There's Tejun. There's Tessara. There's Atero. There's Roxtus. There's Iconix. And then there's New Atero. And then there's vehicle arenas, which I guess are also in Baramagna. There's the Iron Canyon, Knee Island, the Scrapyard, the White Quartz Mountains, and the Forest of Blades. Okay. I don't entirely know what my idea here was. I think it's like, in order to get a gold brick, you have to play through each of these arenas once or something. and you do unlock a new thing to play as when you do that. So there is a little bit of incentive there. You unlock a character, but you also unlock a brick. So, oh yeah, and then there's the hub worlds. So for hub worlds, we have Matanui, we have Mitranui, we have abandoned Mitranui. This is going to be an entirely new hub world just because of how different it looks when it is abandoned. We have Voyanui, we have Marinui, we have Cardanui, we have Daxia, Destral, Ordina, Artaka, Karzani, Zia, Stelt, Zakaz, Artidax, Visorak, Ninra, Kitongu's Isle, Trencrom's Isle, Energized Protoderman's Isle, Nocturne's Isle, Baron Magna, United Village, The Battleground, Boda Magna, and Spherus Magna. And these would all just be like different hub worlds entirely. Like Baron Magna would be where the 2009 story takes place. United Village is like at the end of 2009 story. You get to be in the United Village hub world for a little bit. And then there's the Battleground, which is basically just where the climax takes place. And then there's, of course, Boda Magna and Spherus Magna. So, there is a joke here. There is a funny joke here. Nocturne's Isle, you can see that it's one brick. Basically, the way you get the brick in Nocturne's Isle is you take Nocturne, you bring him to Nocturne's Isle, and you break the island, and that's how you get the brick. And then you don't need to go back there. That's it. What would we use? The introduction of the hub worlds now allows the story mode to be played through it, though the contained hubs of Mangaya, Kodrex, and Red Star still remain. Story mode can be played through either choice of hub world. Oh, I think what I was doing here was that, like, you can have the option to go through, like, a big hub world, like in modern LEGO games. But you've also have, like, small sort of, you'd have small sort of, like, contained hub worlds, where you can access the levels from. And I think it was, like, Mangaya is where you'd access Matanui and Mitranui levels. The Kodrex is where you unlock Ignition Arc levels, and then the Red Star is where you unlock like Baron Magna / Spherus Magna levels. And story mode can be played through either choice of hub world. So basically, at the beginning, you can choose what type of hub world you want to do story mode in. And then, like... And I think it's like Mangaya, Kodrex, and Red Star won't have any red bricks in them. Or gold bricks in them. This is just my idea for something absolutely insane. Like, this is never going to be made on Earth. But it's fun to think about. Mini kits. Mini kits are Technic models of the original sets and combiner models. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna let you guys pause this and read what my ideas for the mini kits were. And some of these are like set pieces with like multiple characters. And these would be like Technic, because like, you know, I said I wanted this to be like in the minifigure style TT game. So these would be like Bionicle minifigures. The mini kits would be like the initial sets, the original sets. So I'm just gonna go through this slowly, and you can read it if you want. Yeah. I think I got all the sets in here, but I might not have. I might not have gotten all of the sets in this list. I think I got all the sets. I don't think I got all the combi models though. I know I didn't get all the combiner models. Oh, wait, hang on. Copper masks. Copper masks are the replacement for red bricks. However, they can also be found on a wall in the hub world. Wait, what? Copper masks act as red bricks. Oh, I think it's like they can be purchased on a wall in the hub world. The masks can be displayed in a variety of colors. Oh, so these are the red bricks, I think. And I was legitimately gonna put a red brick in every single level, and like choose what it does. Wait, unlocked in level 1, hung in spot 2. I think I was trying. Yeah, unlocked in level 2, hung in spot 1. Oh, I get it. Oh, because I wanted them to be in a certain. I wanted them to be cohesive, right? Yeah. So it was like, because there was something like that. It was like the order of the red bricks was like, um, the order of the red bricks in the original Lego Star Wars game was like, I think like the Bespin levels were switched around in the hub world where you could buy them. So I used that as an excuse to say that I can have mumble mode unlocked in level 1 and it be the Noble Row, which is more fitting for mumble mode. Yeah, and then we have I'll just let you guys read what these do. Maybe you guys can come up with what does what. You know, we need the stun multipliers, we need invincibility, and vortex head. That's a little bit funny. Oh, I think the bonus levels are like heads. Yeah, I think the bonus levels, instead of being masks, the bonus levels are like heads. Just because I thought that was funny. I thought that was real funny. I mean, I'm just scrolling it because I also want to look at the player list in detail here in a little bit. I'll show you guys how I set my player list up. Okay. Okay. Bionicle game characters. Okay, so in terms of characters, I have it set up so that there's like six, 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 and then one, and then like this at the end is like some more interesting characters. Um, I have the Matt Torn version of every character, and the Toa version of every character, and the Taraga version of every character separate. But on that spot is like every iteration of them. So the Toa Mata, take for example the Toa Mata, they have the Mata with infected masks, the Mata with their golden masks, the Toa Nuva, the powerless Toa Nuva, the infected Toa Nuva, the maskless Toa Nuva, which is like during the Voinui arc. They have the adaptive armor. Unified, I don't know what Unified is. I do not remember what Unified is. I do not remember what Unified is. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And pilot versions, which is like Liwa and Pohatu, like when they were driving their vehicles. But I'm going to make it. I'd want there to be a version for like every single one of them. And the Toa Mitri have the Mitri and Ordika versions, and then the Toa Anika have the Anika and Mari versions. Some of these characters don't have proper names decided and need some. I have some free spaces here that we could just like fill up with whoever, I guess. I have here that Christian Faber is unlocked upon 100% completion. I don't know about that. It might be better if like Toa Matt Toro wearing the Anika is like 100% completion. Of course, I do have here that Toa Matt Toro has a Nika Marian and Nika Bearer versions. Like, yeah. So, Destiny Takanuva has Destiny and Stars versions. Oh yeah, okay. I need to explain what Destiny is. Uh, so we, um, so of course this row at the top. This is Toa Mata, Toa Mitru, and Toa Nika. At the end here we have Takanuva. We have Toa Ignika. And Variki. That's a big meme. The Toa of Lightning. An unknown Su Toa. Who I believe the guys right here are like an extended Toa team. It's like kind of mixed. And mix some of these characters around a little bit. We have Hoserix right here, of course. We have Taragra Takanuva. We have Makudi, the Bionic Man. We have Takua at the end of like the list of Matt Torin. I didn't put him in with the top Matt Torin. I want to put him off by himself. We have George. This is the actor who played Takua in Lego Backlot. So we have George. We have the Watamaka Tree Crystal guy from the GBA game. We have the Matanui Stone and the Makuta Stone, who I guess would like hop around like Han Solo and Carbonite. We have the Anniversary Googly Eye Tahu. Oh, I think this was before like the brick built one. I like the Googly Tahu though. So we have the Googly Tahu here, and then Destiny Tahu and Destiny Takanuva are like the Stars versions, but like they actually look good. So you have the Destiny version you're going to play through in story mode, but then they also have like a Stars version you can buy as like sort of a reference to the old sets. And of course Christian Favors at the end here. Custom Torin and Custom Toa. Okay. So, in addition to the main 3 Toa teams throughout the series, we also have the Toa Haga. And then we have the Toa Mangaya. And then we have, I think this is a collection of like alternate universe. Yeah, I think some of these are alternate universe Toa. But then there's also like Jovan's team with the Anika Bearer, who I just feel like would be a Ko-Toa. I don't know if it ever said, but I just imagine him as a Ko-Toa. Then we have Toa Doom, Toa Helrix, and Trencrom Liwa, when Trencrom took control of Liwa, and then Toa Krakua. So these are like some of the old Toa. They're like some unique Toa. We have Toa Naho, another Mangaya Toa, Toa Varian, Toa Gray. A lot of these are like extended universe characters. There's some Toa from like the Kordak team, Toa Nikola and Toa Lezovic. Yeah, Lezovic. He was like part of the Toa Kordak. So this is the Toa Kordak team. Toa Charia, Toa Orde, Toa Zarya, Ko Mangaya. This is another 2 Ko Mangayas here. Toa Nuri, Vizola, Orkan. Oh, yeah. This is a reference to the 2005 story where, quote-unquote, Destiny said that Nuri and the other Matt Torin should be Toa. So this is like a reference to, like, well, what if they did become Toa? And this is kind of like, so you can get like a theoretical version of them as Toa. More Kordak and stuff, and then like some unknown characters who are just kind of referenced in Wikipedia. Tapio Nuva. I don't know what Tapio Nuva is. Tapio Nuva. I don't think those ever explained. Taragata. Okay. So I have theoretical versions of the Toa Mata as Taraga. Then I have the Taragra Mitru, Vakama and Nuju and stuff. Then I have the Rahaga. And then Taraga Takanuva, of course. Taragra Doom down here. Taraga Likan here. Taragra Olmec Wearer. Taragra Elda Wearer and Taragra Jovan. Okay. So they're like some extended universe Taraga. Then we have Matt Torin here. We have Jaller, Holly, Kongu, Huki, Nupuru, Matoro, Kapura, Maku, Tamaru, Hafu, Depu, Kopik, Nuri, Vizola, Orkim, Akmau, Tiuchi, Iri, Tequila, Kantai, Onipu, Ally, Kumo, Nixie, Brander, Ja, Ayatoro, Piatra, Teki, Emea, Agni. Okay, I'm not gonna list all of them. These are the Matanui / Michanui Matoran. They'll come in their Matanui form, they'll come in their Koli Matoran form, and they will come in their Michanui form. So that's like all of these guys, right? Candlehead. Love that I have Candlehead here. Then we have the Voyanui Matoran, Balta, Dalu, Pirak, Vilika, Garan, and Kazi. We have the Marinui Matoran, Sadra, Idris, Defalek, Dekar, Gar, and somebody else. Then we have Matoran versions of Vakama, Nokama, Matau, Anua, Iwanua, and Nuju, just so that they're separate from the Matanui versions. Yeah, these are the Matoran versions of the Toamitru. Karzani. Ooh, this is dark. Oh yeah, this is when Karzani gives the Matoran and Nika their new masks. Yeah, Karzani characters. I think it was either when Karzani gave them their new masks, or it's like a theoretical version of them, like Karzanified. Ta drowned. I think this is the Ta Matoran that drowned, and like during one of the ignition scenes. Kyrex is another Mari Nui Matoran. Reza, I believe, is another Mari Nui Matoran. Might be a Voya Nui Matoran. And then a Matoran version of Krakua here. Then we have Radiac, Gavla, Tanma, Photok, Kirap, and Solak, of course. Then we have Dzalk, Zurge. I think some of these these guys in quotation marks are characters that I have more context for later on downs. Like Zurge, P2, Crafter. Crafter was the guy from Karzani who put everyone in their Toa canisters. And like I don't know if it ever said what type of Matoran he was, but I really like Noah Productions Voya Nui movie where Crafter was sort of like an orangish yellow Matoran. So, and then we have some Karzani Matoran in all the different colors. Then we have Voltraz, Kohup, Viken, Viken, that's Mutran's assistant, Split Green, and Mazika, the Swamp Strider Rider. And then we have the Shadow Toa, and then you have some Custom Toa and Custom Matoran. Okay, so Zurge is a non-canon God Matoran that fell on top of the volcano in the Ignition fan film. Yeah. I like referencing fan projects too. Lezovic comes in both classic and Marinui versions, so that's like his Kordak version and his Marinui version. Tuyet comes in both classic and Nui Stone versions. Kohup is a non-canon Avmat-Torn who helps Mazika in his fight against Voltraz. Toamatu include all those versions. Takanuvia has classic Tylite and Cardinui versions, so that's like his classic 2003 version when he was infected by the Shadow Leech, and is set in 2008, which was bigger because he was in Cardinui at the time. Toa Mitru include Mitru and Hordika versions. All Mitru and Matoran have classic, reboot, and Mitru versions. Avmat-Toran, Voltraz, and Viken have regular and shadow versions, except for Takua and Crafter, because they're Avmat-Toran. Yeah, okay. Anika include Anika and Mari versions. Jovan's Anika Bearer has normal and Anika versions. P2 is a non-canon Lima Torin aiding Axon in his fight with Radak and Thok. Some of these characters don't have proper names decided and need some. Destiny Tahu has Destiny, Gold, Stars, and Golden Stars versions because he's got the golden armor. And Destiny Takanuva has Destiny and Stars versions. Christian Faber is unlocked upon 100% completion. I might change that to something else. Split Green is a non-canon Unamat Torin assisting Mazika in his fight with Voltraz. And Toa Matoro has his Anika Mari and Anika Bear versions. Okay. So now we get to the Gorian Glatorian. We have the regular Glatorian, and then we have the Glatorian Legends. I'll get to those purple characters later. Then we have Destiny Gresh, that's like Stars Gresh. Telarius, he was the guy who rode the Scopio, I'm pretty sure. Destiny Scrawl, Star Scrawl, Sorel. Um, yeah, I think he was in Riddle of the Great Beings. Perditus, I think he drove the thing. I think he was one of the drivers. I can't remember. Toamat Nui, Tuma, and Certivus. I don't remember where Certivus was from. Sand Glatorian, because there's the Sand Tribe. Female Scrawl. Wait, isn't Sand Glatorian just Vorax? I don't know. Female Scrawl. Fire Elemental. Okay, so these are the Elemental wards. You have the Fire Elemental, Water Elemental, Jungle Elemental, Sand Elemental, Rock Elemental, Ice Elemental, and Earth Elemental lords. And then there's an Earth Glatorian here because, like, I think the Earth tribe was, like, dealt away with or something. It just doesn't exist anymore. Then you have the Agori, Ranu, Barracks, Tardak, Zesk, Actitus, and Metis. And then you have some of, like, the Agori who were in, like, the vehicle sets. Earth Agori. Hero Agori. I don't remember what Hero Agori was. I think he was like an extended universe character without a name. I think that's what it was. Samad from Samad's Tale. Rockagori. Crotesius. Skidonius. These guys, I'm pretty. Yeah, Kerbraz and Skidonius were definitely from like a vehicle set. And a female Rockagori. And just an Agori here. Just an Agori. Agonance and Hermes were like the two named great beings. The two characters we got names for. So I put them here. And then I put Greg Farshty here. Custom Glatorian and Custom Agori. Destiny Scroll and Gresh have Destiny and Stars versions. Okay. Allies. Axon. Brutaka. Botar. Umbra. Hydraxon. Maxilos. Kraka. Artaka. Prototype Robot. Four-armed... Four-armed what? Four-armed Guy. Four-armed Guy. Jurbraz. Jomak. Kitongu. Tobduck. Jurbraz. And Trinuma. I put Brutaka here because he becomes a good guy later. And then, like, the Maxilos robots were good. Umbra, he's not an enemy. He's just a guardian. Yeah, so allies, I guess this is, like, Order of Matt Nui and, like, adjacent figures. Brutaka has regular, mutated, battle damage, and possessed versions. Yeah, because he got mutated after he got sent to the pit, and then he got his Olmec cracked, and then he got possessed by the Makuta essence. Four-armed Guy might be Brutaka, but I need to reread it. Four-armed Guy! I don't know what I do not remember what Four-armed Guy was. Dark Hunters. Shadowed One, Ancient, Centrak, Voporak, Recorder, Lyriska, Nadiki, Kraka, Sidorak, Rodaka, Spinner, Gladiator, Gatherer, Fired Recax, Eliminator, Dweller, Devastator, Darkness, Conjurer, Charger, Amphidax, Airwatcher, Phantom, Poison, Primal, Prototype, Ravager, Savage, Seeker, Shadow Stealer. Yeah, Shadow Stealer, Silence, Vengeance, Tyrant, Mimic, Guardian, Subterranean, Minion, Lurker, Graticall, Hordika Dragon, Vanisher, Triglax, and Tracker. And then we have enemies. So we got the Borak Va, and then we got the Borak, and then we got the Borak Call here. And then we have a series of Shadow Matoran who are going to be like swarm enemies during some of the 2008 levels. Then you have the Vaki, you have the Vizorak, you have the Paraka, and you have the Baraki. And then over here you have stuff like Krahu, Kranua, Crawley, Forak, Venom Flyer, Colony Drone, Gate Guardian, Kagarak, Vazon, Nektan, the Vibenskakdi, Ernak, Energized Protodermis, the Energized Protodermis entity, Karzani, Zyglak, and Nocturne. And then, like, here you have Granaza, Zavu, Kayo, Jasu, Bo, which would also come with, like, their other versions, I guess. Butera, and a Necton turret for, like, the Paraka to use. Alparaka come in both Skakti and Serpent versions. Albaraki come in both Warlord and Mutated versions. So, like, their past versions and their set versions. Granite can change color with the press of a button. Karzani comes in both regular and mutated versions. Kagarat comes in both blue and gold versions. Vaison comes in normal, Ignika, and Olmec versions. So it's like when he was normal, when he had the Ignika fused to him, and we had the Olmec fused to him. Nekton comes in both regular and stars versions. And Ernak comes in both spine and white versions. Gold spine and white spine versions, yeah. Because he was like a combi model, right? Makuta. Antros, Vampira, Goras, Biddle, Chirox, Krika, Ikarak, Spiria, Mutran, Tridax, Koldra, Miserix. And Miserix. Okay, so those are like the lore relevant ones, right? Those are like the Cardinui ones, the Titan sets, the combi models, and like some of them that were in like extended stories. Then we have Turak, Gurak, Lirak, Panrak, Vorak, Karak. These are the Rakshi. We have the Chain Lightning, Stasis Field, Mind Reading, Electricity, Density Control, Confusion, Limited Vulnerability, Magnetism, Illusion, Rahi Control, Teleportation, Laser Vision, Weather Control, Adaptation, Insect Control, Plant Control, Accuracy, Chameleon, Dodge, Electricity, Molecular Disintegration, Vacuum, Cyclone, Sonic, Sleep, Slowness, Power Screen, Plasma, Quick Healing, Silence, Ice Resistance, Gravity, Fire Resistance, Shape-Shifting, Darkness, and Heat Vision Rakshi. And then you got Krata 1, Krata 2, Krata 3, Krata 4, Krata 5, and Krata 6. I think these are like the stages of the Krata. Then you... Okay. And then you have the Shadow Krata and the Shadow Leech. And then I'm going to talk about these ones last. You have Pterodax in his Matt Torn form from the Matt Nui Online game. You have Pterodax in his Void form, also from the Matt Nui Online game. You have Pterodax as his Titan from 2003. You have Pterodax as Doom, like his Ultimate Doom. Oh, wait, this is his Ultimate Doom. Yeah, this is Ultimate Doom. This is just regular Doom. Yeah, you have his Titan form. Pterodax Ultimate Combiner. So this is distinct from Ultimate Doom, I guess. Pterodax, Zamor. That's him as this is just a Zamor sphere. This is just you get to play as a Zamor sphere rolling around. Pterodax as Maxilos. Pterodax as Melding Pterodax. Pterodax as the Matt Torn universe. And I think that's it. Yeah, Antros has both regular and pilot versions. The Mystica Makuta have both regular and mutated versions. Icarax has both regular Mask and Mask of Shadows. Krata can switch color with the press of a button. And the Heat Vision Rakshi also comes in the Stars variant. Okay. And then we have a Koto. We have the Toa. Then we have the Protectors. And then we have Toa Kimu. And then we have... I think these were... lore important Okotoans. Yeah, I think some of these are a lot of these are just named Okotoans. And then you have the Beasts and Edgil. These are some more Okotoans and Akimu. These I think are some more Okotoans and Makuta as a this is Makuta as Nokotoan. And then you have Kolta, Skull Brute, Skull Slicer, Skull Scorpio, Skull Basher, Skull Warrior, Lava Beast, Storm Beast, Umarak. Yeah, there wasn't a beast here. Quake Beast and Exato, whatever that is. And then Umarak the Destroyer. And then you have the Lord of Skull Spiders and like the different colors of Skull Spiders. And then you have like the traps, the elemental traps that Umarak had. And then you have Titan Makuta. Also come in regular, gold mask, energized mask, Powered Up, Super, Unifier, Energized Mask Unifier, and Unified. Okay. Oh, Unified is them with the beasts. Okay. Toa Ikimu has a normal and unified version. Akimu has normal, zombie, and Mask of Creation versions. Oh yeah, because he looked like a zombie in the animations. Makuta has normal and Mask of Ultimate Power versions, and all official versions of Titan Makuta are here as like different playable versions. Okay, fusions. I did not put the Kaeda in. Gonna have to put the Kaeda in. Okay, these are some cameos I kind of had planned. A lot of these are TTV members. Uh Toa Tapio Nuva, he's the guy I listen to the audiobooks of. And then I have some Jaller references down here. I have Alistair, he's the Puppet King. Alistair the Puppet King, he was like the main antagonist from Jaller 3. The Dark One, that's Hallie. that's just Hallie from Jaller, like when he became evil. You have General Pumpkin from Jaller 2 Randomania. And then you have General Cupcake also from Jaller 2 Randomania. You have They, who was like Alistair's second in command or something during Jaller 3. And then I put me here, I have Nick Nui. And then I have like this is a guy I know in real life, so like I definitely need permission. And then I put C.A. Hapka as like another character who's unlocked upon 100%. I wanted to put the 3 riders as the 100% characters, as like Christian Faber, Greg Farsty, and all the way back in the day with C.A. Hapka. But like those like cameos like that you need permission for, so it's like those might not be in the final version. Small Rahi, you got Fiku, Kuna, Fusa. Okay, you know what? You can just read these. These are just small Rahi. You can just read these. You don't need me to read every single one. And these are the big Rahi. These are the big and medium-sized Rahi. And then, like, I think I was going through the wiki and I just didn't finish this, actually. And then you have Titan Rahi. These are all the Titan Rahi I have planned. Consider Borer Worm for Titan Rahi. I guess that's another note I made. Okay, so this is like a crazy idea, right? We're not going to be able to make this. You know, like, we're not going to be able to make this. It's a fun thing to think about, but we're not going to be able to do it. It'd be crazy, though. Like, right? Like, this would be crazy. This would be crazy if this existed. I just think it'd be so cool if this existed. It's not Gwenta. It's not Gwenta. But it'd be cool, wouldn't it? It'd be really cool. And so, yeah, that's basically just my ideas. I wanted to talk about these notes that I left and show you guys how much of a psychopath I am and how much I love Bionicle and also the Lego games. I don't think I put every single character in Bionicle on here either. I think I just put the ones that like I read off of the wiki, which isn't even all of them. And the thing is, I never listened through like those final few story arcs, like after the awakening of Makuta and stuff like that. Yeah, I just, man, yeah. I would love this to exist. I would just love this to exist. And I just want to put the idea out there. Um, I am open to corrections. Because here's the thing. I think there's so much Bionicle lore, I might even got some of my notes wrong. So I'm open to, like, criticism here. And, like, what you think I should do. Because another thing is, like, I didn't put the northern or southern continents as explorable hub worlds, just because they don't really go to them in any stories. They're mentioned by name, but they don't really go to them in any stories. So I didn't have them as hub worlds. Just had Void Nui as a hub world, and that was it. Um, like, and here's the thing: the way I explained this might have been incredibly confusing as well. the way I explained this might have been incredibly confusing, especially to someone who hasn't even read the Bionicle books, right? But man, I just I don't know. Give me some suggestions. I need some suggestions for this. Like you may have been questioning why I made it 12 10 levels like in these first few chapters, but once you get down to like down here, you start to notice it's this is this is insane. This is insane. But I wanted to dig this back up. I wanted to show you guys. I wanted you guys to see how far I'm willing to speculate on games that are never going to exist for series I like.